Hi, I'm Dr. Susan Thompson and welcome to our EFT group for this month. It's July 2019. And I have a bunch of folks here with me. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Our first step in group and the first step in tapping, we might go back to some of the basics with tapping today, is to identify an issue. So if you, I think most folks have a piece of paper. If you don't, then grab one. Sort of pause for a second and grab a piece of paper. Something to write with as well. Because what I'd like for you to do is to identify an issue that's been on your mind. For the purposes of today, what I'd like for you to do is to, if you were to think about the intensity of something, that it would come in around a 4, 5, or 6. When you start tapping, don't choose something that starts at a 10, because it takes longer for you to reduce the intensity. So just to get started, think about something that's a 4, 5, or 6. So for example, this week, I was on a conference call, and we were talking about getting people to a training, and there was something that I said that had a tone to it. I'm aware of the tone to it, and right now I'm like, as I'm thinking about it, so the intensity as you're thinking about it needs to be at about a 5 or 6. It's like a 5. So what I'm going to do is write down just in a few words what the issue is, and in a minute we'll come back to the affirmation or balancing statement. I have learned some new terminology that I want to share with you all because I think it can be really helpful. Last week I went to a training, and in that training, instead of using affirmation, the term was a balancing statement. And I like that because there's so many affirmations that don't really work, and I have clients that can't say the recommended affirmation. The recommended one is, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. That's the first one that we start with. And when I say that to some folks, they have this, because it doesn't feel true. And if something doesn't feel true, it really can't balance something that is already difficult. So there are some options, and we'll talk about options around that. So I'm thinking about that situation. I'm going to write down specifically in a few words what that situation was. And so in my mind right now I'm thinking, okay, so I want you to write down your issue. And as you're thinking about it, I want to scale from 0 to 10. That's the subjective units of distress. On a scale from 0 to 10, where 10's the most intense that it could be in this moment. So you're thinking about it now, not when it happened. Maybe it was more intense when it happened, but right now when you're thinking about it, what's the intensity? You write that number down. Part of the reason that we do that is so that we have a way to check to see if something's shifted, and if it hasn't, then there are some steps for us to take. I think most people in the room have some water, so it's good to have some water, because that's, when in doubt, drink some water. So if you're finding that the intensity isn't shifting, then take a few sips of water. Water helps actually helps the energy to flow a little bit more readily. So we've got the issue, we've got the intensity. Now we're going to say a balancing statement. So like I said, the recommended one is, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And we're going to go ahead and use that, but ones that folks have appreciated are, I'm going to be okay. What's one that works for you all? Is there one in particular that works? I can't remember. You said one sometime that was really good. don't remember what it was. Now I put you
well,
on the
there's
spot.
one I've been using recently, and
Yeah.
it's a quote from Emily Bronte that I just love, and she says, "No coward soul am I. Oh, I mean, no coward soul is mine."
Oh, so see how you can, this is really an adaptable system.
Yeah.
So if there's that, you're like, I really like your heart opens when you say that, right? So that's what we're aiming for, is this balancing statement from the truth, which is a closing off, to something that is opening up. Thank you for saying that. And for some people, I also use "I'm safe right now," because in the moment they know that they're safe. And there are some people that don't even know that they're safe in the moment. That's really hard. So you can add words like, I'm learning to love myself, I'm open to loving myself, or I'm open to accepting myself, so there are lots of variations that can be really helpful to make it, instead of a tensing up when it comes to, I deeply and completely love and accept myself, to so that people are able to have that same kind of feeling, that you get a little bit of relief when you make the statement. That's part of the reason it's a balancing statement. So we say that 3 times at the outside of the hand. And then we create a reminder statement, which is just a couple of words related to the issue. So for example, my issue is, even though I have this, it would be, this is the setup statement. Even though I have this, what do I want to call it? I feel embarrassed. I feel embarrassed about what I said on this phone call, right? So you hear, now I just identify the statement, right? So then when I'm going to tap through the other points, I'm just going to use a reminder statement. This embarrassment about the phone call. This embarrassment about the phone call. This embarrassment about the phone call. So we're going back to the basic recipe, the basic EFT today. And then we'll open it up to the expansive version that we've also been doing. And where it's going to come in handy for you all is, I'm going to say, when we're all tapping together this issue, which you can say back, but I really want you to focus on your issue. It's important to be specific. So did you hear how specific that was? This embarrassment about that phone call. So it's a specific sliver of time, not something really big. Does that make sense? So the issue should be a specific event, rather than, I don't have any self-confidence. Okay, that's not specific. I can't imagine you having no self-confidence because I can't anchor that to something that's specific. Does this make sense, folks? Great. So when we're tapping our rounds, I'm going to just say this issue, and again, you're going to focus on what you've written down. So everybody's written down something. You've had you've assessed the SUD 0 to 10. Think about a reminder statement, and now we're going to tap. And again, I'm going back to basics, the basic EFT, and we'll start at the outside of the hand. It's also been called the karate chop, but today we're using outside of the hand. And you can repeat after me. Even though I have this issue, so remember to stay focused on yours. I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. Even though I have this issue. I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. 3 times, right? Even though I have this issue. I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. Eyebrow. This issue. Side of the eye. This issue. Under the eye. This issue. Keep focusing on yours. Under the nose. This issue. Above the chin. This issue. Collarbone, this issue. Under the arm, this issue. Top of the head, this issue. Eyebrow, this issue. It really doesn't matter which side of the body you tap on. Side of the eye, this issue. Under the eye, this issue. Under the nose, this issue. Above the chin, this issue. Collarbone, this issue. Under the arm, this issue. This top of the head, this issue. So stop and take a deep breath. Tune in again to your specific issue. What do you notice? What's happening with the intensity? On that 0 to 10 scale, what is it now as you're really tuning into it? So mine's dropped to, it was a 6 before, it's probably about a 3. How do I know it's a 3? Maybe it's in the 3. I'm having a different thought about it. That's how I know that things have shifted. So there's still something there. I'd say it's probably a 3. So if there's something still left, then the next round, according to basic EFT, is this remaining issue, right? So if I go back to what mine was, it's going to be this remaining embarrassment about that phone call.
I was just going to say, as per usual for me, mine went up the first time.
Okay.
You said that
I'm
does
glad.
happen.
Thank you for saying that. It does sometimes happen, so don't get alarmed. So what we're going to do is just tap and breathe this round. And so we're just going to start at the outside of the hand. We're not going to say anything for this one. So if you're welcome to eyes open or eyes closed, just take a deep breath and slowly exhale. Take another deep breath. Slowly exhale. One more deep breath. And slowly exhale. Eyebrow. Take a deep breath. And slowly exhale. Side of the eye. Take another deep breath. Slowly exhale. Under the eye. Take a deep breath. Slowly exhale. Under the nose. Deep breath. And slow your exhale even more. Under the nose. Deep breath. Slow exhale. Collarbone. Deep breath. Slow exhale. Under the arm. Deep breath. Slow exhale. Top of the head. Deep breath. Slow exhale. Now pause and tune in again. It's not unusual for the intensity to go up with folks. So a lot of that has to do with we have the tremendous ability to sort of keep things in a container and put it behind us, and keep the intensity down that way. And when we look at it, it's bigger than what we thought it was. So at first it might be 1 and the intensity goes up, that's normal. You just keep tapping. Right, so how's everybody doing? What's happening with intensity now? So that's that tap and breathe is what we just did, is one of the techniques of EFT, emotional freedom techniques.
And you're not thinking of anything?
You're really still tuning into it, but you don't have to, because your body is taking care of stuff too. Like, it already knows that you're working on it. It helps to stay tuned in. One of the criticisms of tapping and EFT is, oh, you're just distracting yourself. And I'm like, okay, you're not really a therapist when you say that, because distraction, number one, is a strategy. Number two, the truth is you're really focusing on the issue. So how is that a distraction? You're using this extra tool that helps to shift the energy behind something. And the foundational statement is the source of all disease is a disruption of the body's energy system. So when things start to shift, you get things like yawning. And people do think that kind of breath, or you'll start to see in front of your eyes that relaxation. Oh, shoulders drop. But yawning is a normal part of this process too. And usually I say, oh good, you're yawning, that's great, it's working. So let's do another round with this remaining issue. So as you reassess, write the number down again, right? Or what the number is now as you're tuning in. 0 to 10, where 10's the most intense it could be. What is it now? And if we were working individually, I'd say, well, how do you know it's that? And you'd say, well, I still have this or whatever. So then we'd really focus on that. This round, then, we're going to say this remaining issue. So in my case, it's that remaining embarrassment about that phone call. For you, it's going to be something a little bit different. But we're all going to say the same thing. Outside of the hand. Even though I have this remaining issue, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I have this remaining issue, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. So you can say it with gusto, right? Even though I have this remaining issue, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Okay, so eyebrow. This remaining issue. Side of the eye. This remaining issue. Under the eye. This remaining issue. Under the nose. This remaining issue. Above the chin. This remaining issue. Collarbone. This remaining issue. Under the arm. This remaining issue. Top of the head. This remaining issue. We're going to do one more round. Eyebrow. This remaining issue. Good. Side of the eye. This remaining issue. Under the eye. This remaining issue. Under the nose. This remaining issue. Above the chin, below the lip. This remaining issue. Collarbone. This remaining issue. Under the eye, this remaining issue. Top of the head, this remaining issue. Take a deep breath and tune in again. Tune into the issue itself. Or roll it around in your head, that specific event or specific situation. And what's the intensity now, 0 to 10? So, how many are at a 0 to 2? 2 to 4. I think that got everybody. So what we're gonna do now, the basic EFT just says keep going. Keep going with this remaining issue, or do something a little bit different. This would be a time, if nothing's budged, to drink some water. So I don't have water for you. I do it up in my office upstairs, but this would be a good time to drink some water, okay? And we're gonna do what I typically do in the group, which is now. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Not that you weren't having fun before, but to me, this is what's fun about the group. Is that why you keep coming? This is why you keep coming.
It's always fun.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have the rest of your time if you like it, or?
Yes, please do. Yes. And restrooms are down and to the left, and then turn right.
I'll wait a second.
Okay. So we're going to do a group tapping, which is not typical, but it really has been cool how this has worked. We're going to do a group tapping, and the way that I just have started working with people, and I have been for a long time now, is I map things out. So when somebody's talking about an issue, I map it out, and here's how I map it out. So if I were to just do mine, I would say the initial of that, the embarrassment about this, what I said in that phone call, that would be in the center of it. And then I'd say, okay, and what else? That was a part of that. And what else? So I felt embarrassed. I use this tone of voice. It's recorded, right? Which means that other people are gonna hear it, which means that I'm gonna be embarrassed forever. You know, do you hear that? That's how my thoughts would go with this. Yours might go somewhere different, although there was laughter, so you know what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna try and get as many different aspects as I possibly can about that story. And then what I've also been doing with folks is I'm listening to their what's going on. I'm also listening to what they're saying that balances it out, because it's already there. And what I see is that tapping brings it out even further. Now, some of it's because I hear something underneath what somebody said. So I'm looking for those other kinds of beliefs that are already present. And that's where I write the affirmations at the top. And I've got lots and lots in my head. Someday I'm gonna write them down. That have been really helpful for people. And this group, we've come up with some amazing affirmations as we've been working together. So that's what we'll do today. And what we've done is let's see, if you'll say whatever you feel comfortable with in terms of issue, I'll write things down as we go. Again, whatever you feel comfortable with. It might be an emotion, it could be something that you feel in your body, like I'm feeling it in my neck and shoulders. So that's what else I would put down. I feel it in my neck and shoulders. Part of the aspect. I'm getting body, mind, and whatever else is coming up around that particular issue. So who would like to give me an idea of what's going on so that I can start making some notes for all of us to tap on? Anybody?
We can use mine.
Okay. Just a few words.
About what it was?
Mm-hmm.
My
You can
ex,
give a thought or a feeling or whatever it might be.
a thought, not an issue, a thought.
Okay.
The issue or the thought?
Either one.
Okay, well the issue is my ex texting me.
An ex text. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. I understand.
Ex texting me. Oh, you want to?
Well, how did you feel?
How did it make me feel?
Yep.
I was angry. I was frustrated about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else that you want that you're comfortable with saying?
I guess I have to put more to the issue to say what I'm about.
It's
to say.
okay. No. Where do you feel it in your body?
I just feel hot and irritated.
So if you were to tune into your body, where is hot and irritated?
So like, it would make me like clench my teeth.
Okay. Okay. So we'll leave it at that. All right. Anybody else? Yes.
It's interesting because mine has to do with texting too. Communication, like
Yep.
I'm really frustrated with texting communication. Lately, recently.
Okay. Somebody else was chuckling. Is somebody else chuckling? Yes.
Mercury and retrograde.
Yes.
Right.
It's been a good one.
All right. So frustrating communication. So that I've just made it bigger. Now that goes against what's typically recommended, but we're going to do something big so that everybody can really benefit from it. And that's where it's helpful in a group. And the reason that I keep offering the group is we have. Gary Craig called it borrowing benefits. It's really sharing. Because when we get a group of people together like this, we're also combining all of our energies. When we combine the energy of people, it's exponential and not just additive. So when people, when you tap with somebody, there are two of you. You've got your combined energies working on a particular issue. And so when say a client were to go off and tap on their own, this is helpful to let them know that chances are it's going to take them a little bit longer because it's just one of them. So we'll see what happens in our group here. It's been amazing. Yes.
Interesting. Robert and I we have our normal frustrations, but this week we've had something that's elevated that to life, death. I mean, the big thing. And,
okay.
and our brother-in-law had a massive stroke, and so will he survive it? And what will that do to the family and the children and all of that? So, what happened? From what you said, why mine went up was, I think it was so big and so global, and you said focus on one thing, and then when I pulled it down to the one thing, and it was guilt, personal guilt for not feeling the way I thought I should feel in a situation like this.
Okay.
And that's when it went up. But among all the horror for them, anyway.
So feeling guilty about
my own
not,
reaction
right.
to this, and
I should be. There's the should, right?
I should.
So we are. Most of us are aware of the shoulds, the tyranny of the shoulds, but that's something. That's an aspect of it, right? I should be doing, feeling, acting differently. And I'm not.
I had a spin-off with a new client with agency and very complex and very convoluted.
So that's what you got written down?
And it was just the name.
Okay.
And it was, again, a miscommunication because I was brought in as the person to try to really help this situation. And I was hot and angry and irritated and frustrated with all of this because I was not perceived, or the one person I needed to be perceived by, as helpful. And that person was resentful of my wanting to do it clinically the way that I believe it should be handled. And it was palpable in the room. I mean, the expression, the body language,
Yeah, people say a lot without saying it.
Right.
didn't really say too much, but I mean, and so I pulled in a colleague and said, "Can you notice body language right now,
Yeah.
which was very different in that agency kind of setting to go a little woo-woo. And I later got feedback from that particular professional that she was so glad that I asked her
Mm.
publicly to
Mhm.
check in to see what was going on, because she was astounded. So there was this resentment and this frustration and possible guilt coming from her. It was a hot mess. 5 minutes.
All right, where is hot? Oh, look, there's hot
mess.
Okay, so when I'm working with somebody individually, I'm writing furiously.
Okay.
It's hard to do for yourself.
Sure.
In the handout, there's a worksheet. So I do have a worksheet that's available that kind of coaches you through the thoughts, feelings, and the different things that could be happening here. All right.
I'm
this is
sorry.
a good time. That's right. What else then that we want to add? Go ahead.
Anger.
Okay.
The synergy of all of this, how the
This is-
campfire story.
I know,
but
right.
Oh, I started it.
No, you were wonderful in identifying it, and look how many people are here supporting you.
that also
in
have
that.
similar aspects, and that's what I like about
It's
They're
good
good
that-
to wait.
It's good that-
I like
Therapy
about
way to
this
put it.
group is that different aspects will pop up that maybe even you hadn't thought about that are part of yours. So you could just know that you can tap, and if it's not yours, it's not gonna make a difference. Just like we're tapping on all of the points, there are redundancies in this system, and it's not gonna matter that we're tapping on all the points, as opposed to Roger Callahan's, we're going to come up with an algorithm just for what yours is, and now another one for what yours is, and another one for what yours is, and so on. It's possible to shift, even as a group. So
Susan.
I've started writing. Yes.
Okay, so my issue is my brother-in-law has this massive stroke and may very well die as a result. So over the last year, I've gotten in touch with a fear of death. I didn't know it was there. And this really came up. And while we were tapping,
Mm-hmm.
it was going down. And I realized that there was something said to me